Sure, flowers are really pretty, but have you ever made a plant so stressed that it changed color? I know people think of nature as this like chill, quiet place, but it's a freaking war out there. There's like creatures being eaten alive, there's vines strangling trees to death, and like the whole time the environment is just like bashing you left and right. So what do you do when life's hitting you that hard? That's right, you dress up. Plants make all these amazing colors, and I'm not just talking about like the colors that flowers come in, but sometimes plants make colors that we can't even see with our eyeballs. And these colors are really useful too. They're not all just for the purpose of like attracting pollinators and getting laid, even though they do help with that too. I feel like just because plants are stuck in one spot, it's so easy to like dismiss them, but it's actually because they're stuck in one spot that makes plants so cool, because they have to like evolve all of these different things in order to cope with all the stuff that life throws at them. And they're just always doing their best, like day and night, producing that sugar, trying to get laid. Like there's something very zen about the fact that they're constantly working their hardest and constantly doing the most, and just sort of like adapting to the environment around them, rather than an animal that just like gets up and leaves and moves and goes somewhere else. Animals are cool too, don't get me wrong, but plants have had to like come up with all sorts of cool things to just deal with life. So there's some different groups of pigments in plants. There's chlorophylls, which you might be familiar with, betalains, carotenoids, and anthocyanins. Like, how freaking cool would it be if we could just like produce our own sunscreen from within, or photosynthesize, or if we could like just turn invisible in front of our enemies, because that's what these pigments help plants do. Hey, I'm Eva, and these are my notes on anthocyanins, because they are freaking sick, and by the end of this video you're gonna think so too. Sometimes they help to bend light in the place that plants want, other times they help act as like a camouflage, other times they're like a sunscreen. Like, these are the kind of things I wish I'd learned about in AP Bio instead of like memorizing angiosperm life cycles or whatever. So today I'm going to be sharing 4 amazing things that they do to help plants deal with the stresses of life. And if you want to nerd out even more with me, there are some bonus things they do over at the end, because in case you couldn't tell, I am a giant plant nerd. Like, anthocyanins have so many uses for humans. You might already know them from nutrition because they are super powerful antioxidants that are found in like those brightly colored fruits and veggies like strawberries. It's found in stuff like red wine, which is obviously like very culturally and economically important. But also, since plants make these in response to stress, you can use them to check like how healthy an ecosystem is, or how bad climate change is getting, or like help guide restoration efforts. But first, a really quick fit check, because as always, I had to get dressed up to match the theme. In acidic conditions, anthocyanin appears as a red pigment, but in alkaline conditions, it appears as a blue pigment. So anthocyanins are blue, red, or purple pigments. I don't own a single blue item or wear any blue, so that's why I dressed in purple. Purple eyeshadow, purple blush, purple lipstick. Since I'm not wearing any red, I guess that means I'm not acidic, which is good. Good job, Ace. The black cat's actually an accessory to the outfit. Plants can literally make their own sunscreen when they produce anthocyanins. So one of my favorites is this thing called the wandflower, which has these like very glossy heart-shaped leaves, and it's really short. It's about like 12 to 16 inches, and the flowers can grow like a little bit above that. But during the winter, photosynthesis has to slow down because, you know, cold and winter. And in the winter, they turn like bright freaking red to deal with this. I'm talking like red as Rudolph's nose red, because all the, like, since photosynthesis is slowed down, they have to like put all that excess light somewhere. Because you can't actually just throw plants into somewhere that's super sunny. Like, not all plants are going to enjoy that. Rhododendrons and pine trees that are also facing cold will start producing anthocyanins too. And that gives their foliage this really pretty, like, bright purplish hue. This helps protect them from UV damage, but it also protects them from cold damage. This isn't something that just happens in cold environments, because even when it's like hot and arid, plants like the blue agave will turn on this like red purplish hue to like kind of like redirect the sunlight and minimize water loss. One of the most like common examples though is like succulents, because when they go through like drought or like cold or too much sun, they turn on this like red purplish hue. I kind of think it's a little similar to people with melanin like me, where like we have this color to help deal with like the sun's issues and all of the like damage that the sun could do. But the thing is, even if you have melanin, you still have to wear sunscreen. And instead, these plants are just out here making it for themselves. Being eaten sucks. At least being eaten in like the literal way sucks. But this is plants we're talking about. So we're talking about the literal way, and it's plants. So of course they've come up with a way to deal with it. Plants can try to like taste bad or blend in with the environment, or just straight up like not be seen. I think this one's really cool because like most mammals can't actually see red. We're a pretty cool exception that we can see red. So when plants turn their leaves red, it means that like the mammal will just sort of like gaze right by it, because it'll think it's just part of the like regular brown winter landscape. You could even camouflage with the environment. Like the cranefly orchid has these like purple spots on it that become even more pronounced in the winter, and that kind of helps it like blend in with the leaf litter, which then makes it harder for animals to spot. And then the last one is tasting bad, which I could do like an entire video about that. Let me know in the comments if you would be interested, because there's a lot of things that we eat as spices that like were originally meant to be something that tastes really bad, but we as humans just really enjoy it. But one really popular plant is this thing called coral bells, which just look so pretty, and they have anthocyanins in them that taste really, really bitter. And so that helps like convince people, hey, don't eat me, I taste freaking terrible. Coral bells are super pretty, and they're pretty popular in gardens as well for this reason, but they have leaves that vary in shades from like red to green to purple, and all those anthocyanins in there, they taste really, really bitter to any herbivores that might want to chomp on them. One thing I love about plants is like they are truly doing the most. Like all freaking day they're working making their bread, or I guess sugar in this case, and then all night they're doing that too. And when you work that hard for it, you gotta keep it protected. So like when trees change color in like the fall, winter, we think that anthocyanins have something to do with helping all the nutrients and stuff move from the leaves back into like the trunk and the branches of the tree before the leaf just like falls off. Because studies show that trees that can't make anthocyanin will drop their leaves with more nutrients in them, which like if you're working literally 24/7 to be making that sugar, you don't want to be losing it like that. So like when sugar maples have that like bright red color in autumn, it's because it's helping suck the sugar back into the tree before the leaves just fall off. Also beech trees, especially the younger ones, if there's like a cold snap in the spring or the fall, they will produce a bunch of anthocyanins, which help act as like an antifreeze. And then this last one is a little physicsy, and it's also my favorite. So if you are here, thank you for sticking around. And at the end of this, please let me know which of these uses was your favorite, because I am really curious if everyone else is nerding out about this as much as I am. And this is the attenuation of light. Attenuation in light is the reduction in intensity or brightness of light as it moves through something. So this can be to a number of factors like absorption, scattering, and reflection. So if you imagine like a tropical rainforest, the plants that are at the very top are getting blasted with like full amounts of light. But then the plants that grow below that in the understory, they're not used to having like tons and tons and tons of light. So when they do get blasted like full face with light, they need to figure out a way to like redirect it. So some of those plants have like purple undersides to their leaves. It's sort of like a natural dimmer. This helps deal with sunflecks, which are those like brief, intense moments of a lot of light. So that way they can be protected from the oxidative stress of like too much light while still being able to perform photosynthesis. Begonias are a great example of this. So some species of begonias use anthocyanins to like modify their leaves to be that red purple underside I was telling you about. It's because they're from like tropical and subtropical areas, and they're also some of my favorite freaking plants because a lot of them have this like weird alien quality about them. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention like the agricultural importance in all of this. Like if we understand how plants like produce and use anthocyanins, we could maybe develop crops that were more resistant to like drought and stress and pests and disease. And ultimately, this would help get us a little bit closer to sustainable farming and also help improve the quality of our crops. Thank you so much for sticking around and nerding out with me about plants. So there you have it, all the many reasons that a plant would choose to turn purple or red. If you enjoyed it, please let me know why, and if you didn't, please also tell me why, because I'm trying to get better, you know? If you have an idea for what kind of planty story I should get into next, please leave a comment below and I'll see you on the next page. Hi, welcome to the bonus bits for nerds. I want to share like one more thing that anthocyanins are used for. Anthocyanins are also really great for when fruits are trying to announce that they're ripening. Tomatoes and peppers both go from green to red in order to signal that they're ripe. And when you have this indicator of ripeness, that helps all the other animals next to it know that this plant is ready to be eaten and wants to be eaten. And it also is the time that the seeds are all developed and ready to go on and be planted somewhere else in those animals' poops. I know that I said sometimes the red acts as like a camouflage, but you gotta remember like the things that deers are eating aren't really like peppers and tomatoes for the most part. And then the second thing I wanted to mention is that red maples have red leaves because of pretty much all the reasons. Like it acts as an antifreeze, it helps them when they're stressed out and they're dealing with drought. It helps like deter herbivory because like they just don't look as appetizing to all the herbivores. And they can also turn even redder if there's like unexpected cold weather. So truly, the red maples are using anthocyanins for every single purpose they possibly can, which makes sense. We love a multifunctional tool.